Welcome to another Enrichment with the Gifted Guy. What we're going to be talking about today is the logic puzzle known as Sudoku. Sudoku is a fairly simple game, but once you have figured out how to play it, it can become quite complex depending on the level of puzzles that you work with. So, what you see in front of you here is a Sudoku board. You notice there are 9 squares within 9 squares. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 squares. And then within those squares, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The goal of Sudoku is to place the numbers 1 through 9 without repeating any of the numbers in the 9 grid box. So if I were to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That would be a completed box. Here's where it gets a little tricky. So now that this 1 is in this particular row right here, that means I can no longer place a 1 in that. And because there is a 2 in this column, it means I can no longer place a 2 in this column. So if I were to place a 2 here, that would be incorrect. If I were to place a 1 here, that would be incorrect. So you cannot put the same number in the same row or column. So if I were to write this out, I could simply do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then a 7, 8, 9. You notice that none of the numbers are repeated in this particular order. If I were to continue that, I could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then here's where we start to get into trouble. Actually, the 4, 5, 6 would have to go up here. 4, 5, 6. And then here would be the 7, 8, 9. But that seems pretty simple, doesn't it? The problem then becomes now I have on these ones going down, I can't repeat. So I can't have this 2 in this column. So I have to look at like a 2, 5, 8, a 3, 6, 9, and a 1, 4, 7. So what you see here is that none of these numbers are repeated in these rows or in the columns. And so eventually what you want to do is you want to fill in the entire grid with these numbers. So 1 through 9 in 9 of the boxes and 9 of the grids. And none of the numbers can be repeated within these 9 grid boxes. And none of these numbers can be in the same row or in the same column. So that is the very basics of Sudoku. So what you see here is a Sudoku puzzle. A Sudoku puzzle has the 9 boxes that I showed you before. And in these boxes, there are certain numbers that are filled in. So you can see in this box, you have 5 numbers filled in. And so you have to try to figure out what the other 4 numbers possibly could be using the other numbers on the puzzle in order to tell you whether what's available or not. So it has to use logic. So for instance, we have a 9 here, a 9 here, and a 9 here. So the 9 has been completed in this row of boxes. However, you have a 7 here and a 7 here, and there's no 7 in this row, but there's also no 7s down here. So what I typically do is I make a note of this. And I just write this if you're doing it, a hands-on puzzle with a pencil or a pen. You just make a small number in the corner, actually, like this. And that lets me know that that could be a 7. If you're doing Sudoku correctly, you never really have to guess what a box might be. You just have to look around the puzzle to find all the clues. And there will be clues galore. And the more you solve the puzzle, the more different clues will pop up. And so you have to use these clues to try to solve it. So here's another example. So we have a 5 in this column, a 5 in this column, and there's no 5 in this box. So that means that the 5 must go in this column. In this row, you have a 5 already. So that means the only logical box where the 5 could go would be right here. And so you place the 5 there. And as you can see, that is correct. And so what you do is you move yourself around the board trying to fill in these spots. Then this is an easy puzzle. More difficult puzzles, such as the one that you see here, will fill in less of the numbers and make it more difficult for you to have to find what it is that you're looking for. And so the goal is here is start with easy puzzles and then you'll work your way up. I'm at the point now where I can do, a hard puzzle. I'm pretty well, but I'm still not at the expert level because there's just so little information that you have to find, and it can be difficult. So what we're going to do is we are going to do a Sudoku puzzle together, and I'm going to show you some strategies that you can use. So I'm going to go back to my original puzzle here, the easy one right here. So the strategy, I use 2 strategies and then repeat these strategies over and over and over and again. So what I look for is in these across rows, large box rows and large box columns, I look for repeated numbers. And if there are 2 of those numbers. So for example, when you look at this one right here, you have a 6 here and a 6 here, but no 6 in this box. So what I do is I saw that I can start to fill in some blanks. So I know it has to go in this row. This row right here lets me know that the 6 cannot go in this box. So the 6 could go in one of 2 places. It could go here, or it could go here. And I'm not going to guess. I'm just going to put that as a note for information. And then what I do is I work my way around the board trying to find any matches. So this is a 5, 5, and a 5, a 3, 3, and a 3, 7, 7. So those are all done. This is a 4, 4, and then there's no 4 here, but there is a 4 in this column. So that means the 4 has to either go here or it has to go here. And so I just move my way around the board, filling in all the possibilities of what could be. So because I have a 7 and a 7, the 7 has to go in one of these 2 boxes. There are no rows up here or columns up here that tell me where to go. I have a 6, 6, and a 6 is already on there. There are no repeat numbers there. Here, I already did the 7 and the 7. And then, so you go around the board and just fill in notes of what could be. Once you've done that for a little while, you can go to I always recommend going to the box that has the most numbers filled in, which is right here. And then trying to figure out what numbers are missing. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then the 4 is missing. If I look at these rows, the 4 cannot go in this, and the 4 cannot go in this column. That means the only logical place the 4 could go is in this box. So then you only have 1 spot left. You just have to figure out what number is missing. So in this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're missing the 9. And now this gives me new information, because before, where I didn't have 2 9s to line up, I have a 9 here and a 9 here, which means that the 9 has to go in either this box or this box, because none of the rows indicate which one it might be. And because I have the 4 figured out, I have a 4 and a 4. I know the 4 is going to go in this particular column. So I put a 4 and a 4 and a 4. So what you do is you just repeat these 2 strategies. You look for ones that go across or down in any of these. And then once you run out of those options, then you go try to fill in as many boxes as you can that have a lot of numbers in it. And then it gives you additional numbers to go back to the original strategy of trying to find doubles. So we placed a 9 here, and there's a 9 here. So that means this row right here has to be where the 9 goes. So I put a 9 there, and I put a 9 there. And then we put this 4 here, and there's a 4 there. 4 has to go, this column prevents it from going here, so it's got to go either here or here. And again, these notes are really small. I make them small numbers in the corners just to let me know what could go there. So once I've run that course again, I go to the next box that has the most numbers, which is this one right here. So I know the 1 can't go here, and there's nothing in the rows that prevent me. So that means the 1 either has to go here or here. So we're missing a 2 also. So we have 2, 2. The 2 has to go here because It's the only box where there's not a being blocked by one of these rows. So now we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're missing an 8. Because there's an 8 right here, that precludes this from being the 8. So that means this has to be the 8, which means because the 1 is the only one left, is logically where it goes. So again, now we've created more numbers. So now I can go 1 and 1, and I know the 1 is going to go in one of these particular boxes over here. And what I'll do is I will print up a copy of this Sudoku that you see right here. So you could do this on paper so we can do this together. But we're going to do the entire puzzle together so that you can see what it looks like. And so because I have an 8 and an 8 here, 8 could go either here or here. What this also means is because the 8 and 9 can only go here, no other, even though numbers may fit, it's going to be one of those two spots. So the 8 or 9 have to go in. So I'm not going to fill in anymore. So it gives me, by eliminating the possibility of these, it tells me information in here. So I got a 2 is already done. I got a 1 and a 1. Those are all done. I can go now from here. There are no double 2s. There's just the 1. Are there any double 1s? Yep, 1, 1. And then that makes this the 1. And then because I have an 8 and an 8, that makes this the 8. And so you can see how it starts to fill in itself. So now I can go back to my second strategy. I only have 2 numbers to fit in here, and one of them is a 2. So it's going to be a 2 in either one of these. Could go here, could go here. And my other number that I'm looking for is 1, 2, 3, a 4. And so because I don't know which one it's going to be, because there's nothing in the rows that indicate that, I'm just going to do that and leave these boxes alone. Eventually, when I solve this box or this box, it will tell me what these boxes, the answers to these boxes are. So continuing with our secondary strategy, I'm going to go to the one that has the most numbers. So this one right here has a 2. And we know the 2 has to go in this particular row. Even though it's not been solved, it has to be in this column right here. This one's in this column. So that means the 2 has to go either here or here. And then we have a 3, and then we have a 4. So 4 cannot go there. We already established this only can go in these two because of the row and the column. So 6s cannot go in either of these two rows because there's a 6 here and a 6 here. There's a 6 in this particular column and a 6 in this particular column, which means the 6 can only go here. But watch what happens. Because I have taken the 4 spot away, that means the 4 can only go here now. And that means the 2 can only go here. And that means my remaining number, which is a 9, goes here. And we can double check it. We don't have to because logically that's where it goes. There's the column 9's here, column 9's here. The only spot here is a 9. And so what we do is, again, now that we have filled in these numbers, we have an 8 and an 8. 8s can go, because of this column, the 8 either has to go here or it has to go here. Because we have filled in the 4s now, or we already have the 4s, because we have the 5s filled in. They're all filled in. The 7s we already have filled in. So I think we've run our course on this particular row across, and that we have everything that we need there. So I may start using another possibility. So I have a 9 and 9. Now look, because I figured out this 9, it eliminated this 9, which means this has to be the 9. That's where those notes come in handy. Is that now I see where it absolutely has to go. The 1 cannot go here. So that means the 1 has to either go here or here. And I'm not going to guess. I'm just going to put it in the notes that that's where it could go. The 2 cannot go in this particular or this particular one because of this row and this column. So that means the 2 has to go here, which means the 1, only spot the 1 can go in is there. And then our remaining number, which is a 3, would go here. So now that I have more information, I can go 3, 3, and that 3 eliminates that. So the 3 has to either go here. Oop, I'm going to change it to a 3. A 3 or a 3 will go here because I have the 1s, 1, 1, and has to go. So there's none in the column, so the 1 can go in any of these 3 squares. But again, I'm just putting down notes so that I have these notes figured out. And then let me see here. I have 9. So 9 has to go there. It's the only place it can go. So I can fill in the big 9 there, not just a note. And because I have that 9 here, that also lines up here, which means this 9 has to go here. This 8 has to go here. And so you can see as you fill more and more of the boxes in, the more information you get, the more it makes sense where you're going to be putting things. So I'm going to check this. So this is one. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 5s. Has to go in either this box or this box because it can't go in this particular row, and it cannot go in this column, and it cannot go in this row. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. 7 has to go there. Now watch, see this 7 up here? It will disappear because we have figured out where it goes. 8, 9. So all we have are left here is these right here. Now, I'm not going to take guesses on these. I'm just going to fill in other boxes above and below, and it will tell me where it eventually will go. So let's go down to here to this one. Because we have 2 filled in boxes, this is going to give us a lot of information on this particular one. So we have 1, 1. That means the 1 can go here or here. We have 2, 2. The 2 can either go here, here, or here. We have the 3 and the 3. The 3 could go here. The 3 could go here. We have 4. 5s have to go in one of these. Can't this row prevents it from going there. These 2 columns prevent it from going there. So it has to be either in here or here. And you can see we're starting to get a lot of numbers in these boxes, but that's okay because it's going to tell you what numbers can and cannot go there. So I'm going to continue all the way through till I get to all the numbers. So now I have 7s already placed. 8 would be here or here. So it's got to go in one of these 2. Because this 8 is here, that means that the 8 has to go here. And the 1 has to go here. And so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so obviously I made a mistake here somewhere because I have 2 boxes where the 3 can go. And that doesn't make any sense because the 3 cannot go in 2 places. So I have to figure out where I messed up. I think a 4 could go in either of these 2 boxes as well. Actually, I have the 4 in the wrong column. So the 4 is going to go here or here. And this is the tricky thing about Sudoku is that if you make a mistake somewhere, you won't be able to complete the puzzle as it's supposed to be solved. So you have to be careful about making mistakes. And so now I'm going to do is remove these 4s because I don't need them because they actually can't go there because of this particular column. So I'm going to undo. I'm going to clear this or erase it and then put the 2 and the 6 back. I'm going to erase this 4 and put the 5 and the 2. I'm going to erase this 4 and put the 4, 5, or the 2, 5, and 6 there. And so that gives me more information. So now I can come over to this particular one and see if there are additional information that would help me. And it doesn't look like there is. So I'm going to go to the second strategy of trying to fill in the squares. So if I have a 1 and a 1, the 1 must go in this particular row. I don't know where the 1s are in the columns, so that leaves me just making a note of 1, 1, and 1. I have a 2 would go here. I don't know where else a 2 could go, so 2 can go in a lot of boxes. So I go 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. 3s cannot go here. They can also not go here. So it can only go in these 3 boxes, here, and here, and here. 4s cannot go in this particular box, which means it can go in all the other boxes. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. 5s cannot go in here. They cannot go in here. So the 5 has to go either here. And you can see there's a lot of numbers I'm placing in here. But what I'm doing is I'm eliminating the possibilities of what could go in there. So now I've placed all of the numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and where they could possibly go. So once I start to figure out some other information, it's going to allow me to fill in the blanks. So for example, so far I have 1, the 2s I have not placed. A 2 cannot go in this row or this column, which means a 2 has to go here. Now watch what's going to happen in this above box up here. These 2s will disappear because I placed the 2, which means the 4 can only go in this particular spot, which means the 2 can only go in this particular spot. And then it starts this, you can see how it starts to fill in the blanks. Now I'm eliminating numbers right and left. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That means all of these boxes need to be filled in now because I can just do the ones that only have single numbers in it. Now, if you're doing this by hand, this becomes a bit trickier because you have to erase ones that you have eliminated and pay attention to the rows and columns. But when you use a program like this one, it kind of does it. It eliminates those for you. But so you can see all that's left now is filling in what we know. So I'm going to all the spots that only have one possible number, and whatever's left is what I'm putting in. And so we're going to complete this complete puzzle. So once we do this, then it will say that the puzzle is completed, as you can see there. And I did it in 17 minutes and 51 seconds. So one thing you can also do is with programs like this, the Sudoku.com, which is a great program. It's free on your computer. You just go to Sudoku.com. And it times it so you can challenge yourself. So I got a 1751. Maybe the next easy one I do, so a next game that I do is going to be, I try to beat that time. And so there are different ways that you can challenge yourself. So if you feel like you understand Sudoku now, you understand the basic concept of it, what I'm going to suggest is I have a link that you see right here to some Sudoku puzzles of various levels of difficulty. You could print these up and work on these Sudoku puzzles. You could just Google Sudoku puzzles for free, and there's a ton that will show up. You can go to a site like I showed you, which is Sudoku.com, and you could do it online. I like that one in particular because it doesn't let you make mistakes. In other words, if you do it by pencil, you might make a mistake and not realize it. But the other one will kind of call you on it. Well, as a matter of fact, in some of them, you only have like 3 mistakes that you can make. But if you are at a comfort level where you feel like going ahead and giving these a try, then go ahead and do so. This next part of the video is for those who maybe haven't grasped the concept yet. They still are having trouble seeing how it works. So I'm going to scaffold a little bit to make it easier for you. So what you see here in front of you is a 4-grid Sudoku puzzle. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 big boxes, and then within those boxes you have 4 numbers as well. And so this just makes things simpler because there's less numbers to deal with and less boxes to deal with. And as a result, it just is an easier method of starting to know what Sudoku is like. So what we could do is we have 3 3s. This one does not have a 3, so we could try to eliminate. So this 3 right here, it cannot go in this particular box because this 3 in this column is blocking it. It cannot go in this particular row because this one is blocking it. So that means the only place the 3 could logically go would be in this particular box right here. So that would be a correct box right there. So now we can start to figure out other ones that we don't have as much information on, but we have enough. So this right here, we have a 1 and a 3, which means we're missing a 2 and a 4. A 4 cannot go here because of this. The 4 over here in this row prevents that from happening. So that means the 4 has to go in this particular spot right here, which means by process of elimination, the only number that's left would be the 2, which would go in here right here. So now this has given us more information. And actually, I messed up because see this 4 and this 4 right here? They can't be in that row. So the 4 goes here, and this 2 in this column would prevent it from. So see, that's where you have to kind of catch your own mistakes because I made a mistake on that one. And so you just go back and you kind of fix those mistakes. So now there's only one box here, and the only thing left is a 4. So by process of of logic, it means that a 4 would go in this particular box right here. And we're missing, in these, we're missing a 1 and a 4, but the 4 in this column prevents it from going here. This 4 in the row doesn't really tell us anything because there's no spots left anyways, but this 4 does tell us that a 4 goes right here because of that particular column. which means, of course, that because that's the only one left, one must go here. And then you can kind of check that. Actually, so there one can't go here because of this particular row. There's nothing in the column that tells us otherwise. Now this one in this column means it can't go here, so the one has to go over here. So I would take that one and put it up in that particular box. In this particular Sudoku puzzle, there is a blank one, a version of this in the link I sent you, so that you can work along if you want to do that, which means that a 2 is the only possibility for this last possible one. Sherlock Holmes famously said, when you have eliminated everything that is impossible, all that is left is the possible. And so what we've done is we eliminated everything except for this one possible solution. And so that's what it becomes, because it's impossible to be another number. So that would be a 4-grid Sudoku puzzle, which is a little bit easier. So when you feel like you've got that under control, you can always again Google four-grid Sudokus, and lots will come up. So once you kind of get the hang of it, then you can, if you want to scaffold up a little bit more, you can work your way up to a 6-grid Sudoku puzzle. So we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with the 6 boxes in each of these grids. And then you just simply fill in the blanks where it would be appropriate. So using the same logic of this 1 and the 1 in these particular columns means that a 1 is going to go in this particular one, and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to take you through this particular puzzle, but you can, once you feel comfortable with the 4-grid one, you can move up to the 6-grid one. And once you feel comfortable with the 6-grid one, you can move up to the 9-grid one. The 9-grid Sudokus are the more common Sudokus. There are super Sudokus, and I'll show you what one of those looks like. So what you see here is a super Sudoku puzzle. So what you get is you get 4 boxes across, 4 boxes down, all the way through. And then within these boxes, there are 16 possible numbers. So this is definitely for the very advanced Sudoku player. So do not start with this. Do not even go up to this once you've completed your first Sudoku puzzle. This would definitely be a challenge, but this is something that if you're working your way up, you do a bunch of Sudoku puzzles, you feel like you have the hang of it and you want an additional challenge, you could do one of these super Sudoku puzzles and try to figure out, how that works. It looks so confusing to me, I don't even want to try it. So I'll stick with my hard Sudoku puzzles. But there you have it. That's how you can do Sudoku. Again, here is a link to the resources, the Sudoku puzzles that I used for this particular tutorial. So you can print these up, or you can, just open them as a Word document and fill them in that way. But again, another good resource is Sudoku.com. Those are free puzzles. You may have to put up with some ads, but they're free puzzles, and they're always good for exercising the brain and challenging you and enriching you.